Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabeni, your favorite broker. In this video, what I want to talk to you guys about is taking a variable rate mortgage. So if you had taken a variable rate mortgage and hoping that the rates were going to come down and that you were going to benefit from that versus being stuck on a fixed rate when we all knew that the rates were going to start to come down, you're probably like, yeah, it's great. I took that variable rate, but I'm still stuck at the same payments unless you're with Scotiabank, because Scotiabank, as far as I know, is the only one that will adjust your payment when the prime rate changes, whether it goes up or down, they're going to adjust your payments. But what ends up happening if you have a mortgage from RBC or TD or one of the other lenders? Well, what's going to end up happening is that your payment is going to stay the same, okay? But what's going to end up happening is that when you make that payment, more of that is actually going to shift into your principal and less of it is going to go into interest. But you're still paying that same payment. I know this because I know it, and I'm also looking at a way of saying, hey, the rates have gone down now, and I have a rental property that I'm actually paying money into at this point right now. Roughly, I'm putting in about $1,800 a month into this rental property that I have, okay? That's after me collecting rent on it. What I look at is that, you know, I have a mortgage with RBC right now, and it's a variable rate mortgage that I took for 5 years. Now, that variable rate mortgage when I first started was 6.75% or 6.74%. Since then, the rate has gone down 2%. So roughly, I'm paying about 4.74% right now. So my payment still is just north of $4,200 on this property, but obviously more of it, like I explained, is getting allocated to my principal. But that kind of sucks, right? My payment is 42, the rates have come down 2 points. I am paying more of the principal, but I'm out of pocket $1,800 a month. I don't want that anymore. So what do? I go back online, I talk to Fidus, Vern over at Fidus, and try to give me some advice on what's going on over here. So what we came up with is this. I could basically break that term right now, okay? And I could go back on another 5-year or 3-year variable rate mortgage. And what is my penalty gonna be? Well, I have a house mortgage that's about $630,000. So roughly the penalty over there is about $7,400 to break that mortgage at this point right now. But what's that gonna do to my $4,200 monthly payment? Well, my $4,200 payment is gonna come down to somewhere around $3,200, so about $1,000 in savings. So I'm starting to consider that and saying, hey, like instead of me having to pay $1,800 out of pocket, I'll be paying $800 out of pocket to keep this property. Because with this rental property, I'm in it for the long term, okay? I don't have any immediate plans of selling this property, so I don't care. I'm not in a rush to pay this property off, but I am trying to preserve cash flow at this point right now. It might be a good idea for me to do this. Now, as I sit back and think about it and say, okay, I'm gonna pay a $7,000 penalty to break it, my payment's gonna go down about $1,000. Is this really worth it for me right now? Because we feel like it's still gonna happen is that the prime rate is still gonna come down from what I understand. I mean, the Bank of Canada is naturally, I believe, going to bring down the rates at least a quarter point. We saw the inflation tick up a little bit. Unemployment has been kind of sketchy, and the threats of the tariffs coming in from the US and our economy being not so certain right now. So I think that the Bank of Canada is going to compensate for that and probably bring down the rate. I think a quarter point is almost going to be a slam dunk. Can it be a half a point? Or are they going to do a quarter point at the next announcement? But then if Trump fully enforces the tariffs, are they going to do another emergency rate cut and bring it down another quarter point? I don't know, okay? But that's kind of like options that could end up happening. It could be more than a quarter point, I'm not sure. But when I look at my particular situation, I'm like, hey, it's not killing me right now, and I think that the rates are gonna continue to go down, the prime rate's gonna go down. So instead of me going back and getting a 4.5% rate right now, can I still wait it out until I could start to see it kind of being in the mid to higher threes? Is that gonna be a little bit more lucrative? And is that gonna actually offset more of my negative cash flow into this property? So that's something I'm strongly considering right now. I take all of this stuff back to Vern over at Fidus, and he tells me that, hey, listen, if you really want to improve your cash flow situation right now, there are private lenders that are actually offering more than a 30-year amortization. There are some lenders out there, private lenders, that are actually offering a 35-year amortization. And I believe I also heard him say even a 40-year amortization. So the interest rate's going to be a bit higher. How much? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's going to be a half a point or a point higher to be on that private side. But then you get a 35 or 40-year amortization. Now, if I run those numbers at a high level and I say, fine, I'll move it over to private and I'll try to get a 35 or 40-year amortization, I think out of pocket, I almost become nothing. I think I'm almost at a break-even situation at that point after collecting my rent. So that's another thing that I'm considering, that, hey, does it make sense to actually go over on that private side? It actually might make more sense for me to go over onto that private side if the Bank of Canada drops the prime rate by another half point or 3/4 of a point, because then I'm offsetting whatever rate I would be getting right now. Plus, I'm able to add possibly another 10 years to my amortization, because like I said, I'm not in a rush to pay off this property. I'm holding the property. I could reevaluate my situation again in 3 to 5 years when that mortgage comes up. So this is a strategy that I'm considering right now to improve my cash flow. It is something that if you have a rental property out there, or even if you committed with your principal property at a higher rate, even if it's variable, to basically go back and relook at this, I would suggest you guys call your bank, call a mortgage advisor, and basically say, hey, does it make sense for me to actually break this so I can bring down my payments? If you're planning on living in your house and you have no immediate plans of moving out, and you're like, I'm going to be here for 10, 15, 20 years, you might not care. You might actually say, hey, that, $500 or $1,000 or $1,500, I can actually not have to put towards my principal right now. I can actually use that money, maybe even to go on vacation, or, pay for extracurricular activities for your kids. That might be money better spent for you at this point. It is something that you can consider right now. Don't think that you're stuck on this variable rate. Yeah, is there going to be a penalty to break it? 100%. So you definitely have to take that into consideration. And my understanding is that whatever that break fee is, you can actually absorb it into your mortgage as well. So not saying for you to go and increase your mortgage or whatnot, but it's not like you're going to have to come up with that money in cash. It will get added to your mortgage ultimately. So it is something you could do in tight times like this right now to improve your cash flow. I hope this information was good for you guys. You guys learned something from it. If you have, or if you didn't, it would really help me if you guys could actually like this video, share it with a friend. Like maybe your friend has bought an investment property a few years ago and they're just like, I don't know how much longer I can take this negative cash flow. Maybe this might be of use for them as well. And I highly advise you guys connect with Vernon over at Fidus. I think he's got some awesome solutions for people in this situation. I know that he's actually made this happen for other people at the same time. So reach out to him and I'm sure he'll come up with a solution for you guys. Again, subscribe. I think we have really good, authentic content that is relative to the times right now in real estate. I think you guys will gain a ton of value by subscribing to our content and being alerted of when it actually comes out. Until next time, guys, remember one thing: get Cabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.